Hello there everybody, my name is Max and welcome back to From the Depths. You join me, of course, as you may have already guessed, from the decks of my Jupiter Class Dreadnaught. I've done some work on it, tried to improve the survivability and the armor, and also improve the actual weapons. So let's go through the changes. As you may have already noticed, the most noticeable outside change are these laser warners and smoke detectors. Smoke detectors? Smoke dispensers. We also have some on the inside, just in case these are to get shot off or whatever, but these are just to provide some laser defense. I only really focused on defending the most important things from lasers, that is our main guns, our engines, and our main guns at the back, as well as our superstructure. You may not realize it, but the superstructure is absolutely critical because it has all of our AI detection on it. So if we lose that, we are in a bunch of trouble. And I also made it out of lightweight alloy, which is obviously the weakest part of the whole ship, but that's just, its looks are important. Anyway, so aside from that, strengthened the belt armor here, so it's a little bit thicker, just in case we get any torpedo strikes. And I can confirm now, for sure, that everywhere around the ship is at least 3 blocks thick. So there will be no more explosions, or random things happening, or turrets getting shot out. It is at least 3 blocks thick. The turret design remains the same as you last saw it. I have been thinking about changing the turret design, however I don't really want to go and change every single turret on here. However, I have been noticing that we have been taking some plunging fire, it's been hitting the turrets, and when it hits the turrets it blows the turrets up. But it doesn't at least get down to the actual internals of the gun, so the gun is still reasonably safe-ish. It just means that we have to repair the turret every time, which is annoying, but, whatever. We might just have to deal with it. Other changes, we've gone from 1 single carburetor engine to 8 engines. The other engines are, I guess, 7 engines. So the 6 engines are injector engines. And that's what's providing us so much power, and it didn't even cost us that much. But they only run when we're in the battle, and they only run to recharge our batteries. We've also strapped on a few more RTGs here and there, just to try and keep the batteries up, because obviously all of our main guns are railguns, so that's got a lot of draw anyway. And then we've got this quite advanced LAM defense system here. So this is just to keep ourselves reasonably safe. Now I do need to do a little bit more work on the LAMs, because as we can see we have a LAM here and we have a LAM here, but they are not, these are 2 mirrored LAM systems, so there's one on this side and there's one on this side. So the LAM system on this side is not shooting at things coming from this side, if that makes sense. So essentially, most of the time, this thing is doing nothing if it's on the other side. So we just need to cross it over and have a LAM on this side. I've got these LAMs at the back here. These are kind of our only back defense LAMs. I don't really think we need many defenses at the back. I'm not really planning on taking a lot of shots directly from the back. Just considering that, it's supposed to be engaging at like 5,000 meters range. So I'm not too worried about that. I may just add a LAM, maybe here just as sort of a, participation, I guess. I've been thinking about changing out this octuple 40mm for an actual gun, maybe something like a Gatling gun on the side, or maybe like a bigger flak gun. However, I ended up using the bottom of that for some engine space. We could still fit in a gun, I just am hesitant to put, an explosive gun next to our 2 critical engines. Essentially, we can run on maybe 3. I mean, it depends what engines we lose. Obviously, we've got our main engine, which is the most important. However, that's wrapped in armor, so I'm not too worried about losing that. But on the case that we do lose that, we need about 4 or 5 of the injector engines to still be functioning in order to use the ship, essentially. If we happen to lose all of the injectors but keep the carburetor, then we'll be okay. It just means that our fire rate may decrease as we start to run out of battery power. If we lose all of the engines, then our LAM systems will disengage and we will use all of the power for the weapons. It's sort of like a, do we want to shoot or do we want to just be defensive? I think at that point we just have to put all our cards on the table and just fire back. Other things I've been thinking about changing are these cram cannons. Not a huge fan of the cram cannons, if I'm honest. They don't seem to be doing that much damage. I think it's just because they're so small that they're just not doing enough to really warrant having them. So I'm debating if I want to switch these out for just bigger cram cannons on the side here, and sort of, you know, move the deck out a little bit, and then we can have like, because these are 5x5s, so maybe we could have 9x9s, something like that. I don't know. They don't seem to do that much against metal. I'm thinking maybe if I just switch them all out to just be EMP, you know, maybe that would do it, because we're mainly dealing with metal ships, EMP, you know, deal with the AI, etc., etc. I think they might just be too small is perhaps the problem. Perhaps we just need to add some more gauge increases to them. I'm not quite sure. I know that they did change the actual cram cannon designs, that you need to have, what are they called now? Like, there's a special thing that they just added, which I hadn't seen before, and I was like, oh, that's weird. Yeah, payload compactors, there we go. So I haven't quite figured out what the most efficient way to make a cram cannon is. Indeed, the cram cannons on our Mars class are not as efficient as they used to be because of these payload compactors. So it sort of means that cram cannons for now, if I'm making them, they're not going to be as good as they could have been. I'm very happy with the Tetris for our actual main guns here. If we go down and show them off. So we see that we got the railgun charges all in here, and then this is what the Tetris looks like on the inside. Slightly a mess, but definitely gets the job done, and obviously it is all wrapped in armor. All of it. I do find it interesting that you can overlap turreted structures, so this is technically a metal beam in here, even though it's in an ammo thing. I don't know, it's interesting. We'll see how that works out for us when we actually get shot there. But yeah, so this is the latest and greatest variant of the Jupiter. I don't think there's anything else. Oh, I guess I should probably show you the engines, considering. So the engines are down here in the middle of the ship. See, we've got our injectors on the left here, injector, and our main engine should be somewhere in the middle. Oh, these are our main engines, sorry. We have two carburetted engines, so we do have I was just going crazy. So we have two carburetor engines, and then we have somewhere over here, maybe. There we go. Here's some injector engines. There's two. And then there should be another injector somewhere around here. Nope, not there. Is it on the other side? Nope. Is it further in? Yes, there we go. There's an injector. There should be an injector on the other side. There we go. And then there should be an injector somewhere around here. Essentially, the entire inside of this is packed full of injector engines to allow us to have enough power to maintain our current level even during a battle. So, I am feeling confident in this ship. Very confident, in fact. Some might say too confident, but I'm willing to... you know, we're going to give it a go. So we're going to try this ship, the Jupiter class, versus the Impedance Lightning Hood Godly Vessel. I can't think of anything that would be worse to fight the Mars class with. So, what better way to test our latest ship than for something that would clearly and evidently and obviously kill the Mars class? Let us begin, and I will offer a little prayer to the gods, and hopefully we survive. Now, I have tested this, obviously. I wouldn't send this in without testing it. What I would say is that we don't actually have our turret constraints set up yet. So that means that, unfortunately, I do kind of need to stay somewhat close to the Mars class, because, as you can see, our front guns are now facing the wrong way. Even though they may or may not have been able to get a shot off there, they're now facing that way, so it kind of has to go back that way. Now, this is dangerous, because the more eagle-eyed among you may have noticed that our ammo rack is at the back, and it is where it's being shot at the moment, so hopefully it doesn't get through that. It's not supposed to be like this. It was supposed to be going front onto it. I don't know why we're not. We're also running out of turrets at the back here. Can we please spin around? Okay, I need to interfere slightly to spin the guns around. Sorry, let me just try that one again. Spin it round, get the guns around. Now shoot it. Yes, kill it. I'm beginning to think we may not win this. I mean, no, I have complete faith. I mean, look on the bright side, at least it didn't get through the ammo rack. That is the ammo rack there, by the way. That little layer of armor is all that's separating it from certain death. Okay, let me just interrupt a little bit more to spin the ship round. It's not looking great at the moment, if I'm honest, but I have complete faith in our ability to not die to this thing. And by complete faith, I mean absolutely no faith whatsoever. Spin the guns around. Spin them around. Shoot it. Oh my god, please. Just face the right way. Okay, this might not have been the best battle for us at the moment. Indeed, it appears that we are losing. However, I think we put on a good show, right? Surely. Oh, well, hang on, hang on. Look, it's not looking great, but all of their front guns are no longer functioning. It's just the back gun. So, presumably, if we could just disable this back gun with a lucky EMP hit, for example, like that, then we might actually be in a lot of, you know, victory might actually be within our grasp, despite the fact that we are clearly outmatched. It's slowing down. It's being shot. The Jupiter class does not have any way to repair itself as it stands at the moment. It is completely dependent on me repairing it, so it will not fix any of the damage, so all of the turrets will remain offline. Although I'm reasonably confident that none of the turrets are actually destroyed. I'm just going to leave this for now, because I think we've probably won it. I'm pretty confident that most of the turrets have just, yes, they've just had their turret caps shot off. If you see here, all of the actual internals of the turret are still intact. Indeed, all the internals of the cram cannon turrets are still intact. They've just had the turret cap shot off. It's not unusual for the for the Jupiter class for this to happen. You kind of see just how it's armored now, though. It's very interesting. It's peeled things away, so you can kind of see. It's yeah, it's got some thick armor, which is probably one of the reasons why we will actually win this somehow. Let's go have a look. It looks like it's in the water, which is a good sign. I'm seeing smoke, seeing death and destruction. I think if we just keep putting shots into this, indeed it does appear to be keeling over and sinking. I think we've actually won. Those little missiles which I put on are actually the MVPs of this whole situation. And I should definitely add more EMP missiles to everything that I have. There we go. Torpedoes coming in. I'm just going to fix the Mars class now, because I think it's reasonably obvious that we have in fact won. Considering that the return fire is dwindling and the Mars class has won. Now, we didn't ever run out of electricity there. It's probably because we ran out of turrets faster. But it does seem that there is a little bit of a weak spot where this deck and this deck sort of come together. Because it seems that we are consistently, in all of my testing, getting a little gaping wound ripped on these sides here. Now, as I fix the ship, our return fire should definitely start to increase. You can see kind of all the laser systems inside here, scattered round. Yeah, I mean, this is a 1 million ship, so we took 100,000 in damages. Just about, maybe a little more. But, yeah, it wasn't that the turret was completely destroyed, it was just the turret cap got shot off, which, again, is interesting. I'm not quite sure how this is happening. I mean, if we look at the design of this turret, you know, it's got a single layer of metal on the top, but it's got two on the sides, and the sides is where it was shot from, so I'm interested to see that it didn't manage to hold up. We've got all our guns back now, so I can probably just go and have a look. The amount of fire that we should be laying down obviously will be increasing as our guns come back. And hopefully we should be able to see just how well these railguns rip through metal. Especially now that it's not moving. The only problem is that obviously it is slightly underwater, so some of our shots are just ricocheting off. Yeah, I can't I can't quite tell how efficient our cram cannons are. I'm gonna watch the next one that comes. Okay, well that one missed. I can't tell if they're like absolutely vital to the ship or if they're just useless. Because it seems to me that the most damage is being done by our solid shot projectiles, which obviously it's our main armament, but still I was hoping that the cram cannons would be able to at least help a little bit. So our flat guns are firing, not really doing much, but contributing. Definitely the MVP of this whole battle though, and the only reason we won this was our little missile firing things. I'm not sure I want small missiles. They're definitely not for a dreadnought, but I might increase the amount of medium missiles that we have. We could probably put some medium missiles on the back here if we wanted to. I'm just a little cautious about doing that because obviously that is where our ammunition storage is, and I can see that going very badly. I don't really want to give the AI any more reason to shoot at the back of the ship than they already have. But yeah, it definitely seems that these missiles were absolutely vital. And there we go, I can officially hold my hand up and say that this ship, the Jupiter Class Dreadnaught, is more than capable, well maybe not more than capable, is capable of dealing with a Lightning Hood Dreadnought. So, you know, what more could you possibly ask for? Especially since the Lightning Hoods are the ones I've been struggling with the most. And yeah, so I'm very happy with it. And I hope to see you all again next time, whenever that is. So until then, I will say goodbye for now.